Give me some cable here. All right, Kathy's here, and Lynxfur is here, also known as Ron. Everything looks okay. Let's do a start. No, that's not the start we want. Jesus. Broadcasting from beautiful downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV with me, the grumpy old man, and as usual, we have a guest appearance by the Grumpy Jackalope. And we are brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow. Thank you. Damn bird.
But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
And, as we do every night, the ceremonial lighting of the Festivus pole. Voila! One push of a button. Hard to believe Festivus will be over tomorrow. And I think I will have 100% voice tomorrow. So, for the end of Festivus, I will be singing Ron's composed version of the 12 Days of Grumpy, or the 12 Days of Grumpy Christmas, or whatever we're calling it. All right, take us in the kitchen. Yeah, you know, Kathy, I figured it would take that whole bottle of them horse capsules. I have, I think, two more. One tonight and the last one tomorrow morning, and then they're done. And actually, everything is starting to feel back to normal finally. Unbelievable. But as much as I hate the thought of it, I think I'm going to have to pay a visit to the dental clinic, because I want to get the rest of these goddamn broken teeth out, and I want them all out at once. I don't want this bullshit, well, we'll take 4, and no. Whatever's left in there, get them out. I'll even lie to them and say, I might be buying dentures. Oh, yank, 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 yank. I mean, the thing I hate is they have to dig for all of them, because, they're broken right off at the gum line. So it's going to be my mouth will look like a crime scene. Not to mention, I'll probably be swollen like a chipmunk. We'll see what they have to say. I mean, the sad thing is, it's going to cost me two deductibles. One for them just to, take an x-ray and look and give me the bad news, and then another appointment to get it done. I doubt if they'll do it all at once because they want their deductible. Like the survey I got this morning from Metro. One of these year-end rate the year, So I literally told them. I said, first of all I see everywhere I go is cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts, reduced staff, reduced service, and I said, you've got my pain management doctor down to 12 minutes. There is no goddamn way he can do an exam and we can discuss everything in 12 goddamn minutes, because it's not a whole 12 minutes. By the time he comes in, boots the computer up, signs in, does this, does that, they took my, same thing, my primary care. That went from 30 minutes to 20. And my podiatrist went from 20 to 15. What is it going to be? One patient every minute? It's getting ridiculous. And then the prices, I mean, even though I'm on I call it the welfare plan, I get an estimate as to what the visit. And, an average doctor visit is over $300. I can totally understand why there are tens of thousands of seniors out there that have no medical coverage. They don't see a doctor until it's almost too late. Because if you don't have any kind of coverage, there is no way you can pay out of pocket today. And veterinarians are worse. I mentioned this to my old veterinarian. I said, you literally have us by the short hairs. Because we value the life of our pet more than we value our own life. So, you just charge up the ass knowing that somehow, one way or another, we're going to pay it. Of course, they deny it. But, after my vet's office joined this VCA, Veterinary Clinics of America, the prices tripled. That's why I go up the street to the old Indian, because first of all, he's been there, 30 years, maybe 40, and he knows that this is a poor neighborhood. I mean, there ain't people living in this neighborhood making, $250,000 a year. And his prices are super reasonable. because he knows we care about our animals. I met him because when I was working part time at the hardware store, he used to come in all the time, and of course, the you should have seen that tuxedo cat. He must have weighed 40 pounds. He was a big boy. The owner of the hardware store used to take him over there. So, as a matter of fact, he asked me, he said, why are you switching vets? And I told him, I said, they joined that BCA and prices tripled. And he said, yeah, they contact every veterinarian every year. Would you like to join our consortium, And he tells them, hell no. You ain't doing me no favors. Because the corporation, they quote the price. It's no longer the veterinarian office. And they don't do payments or anything. It's like pay or your your pet dies. Oh, really? I don't even look. That's all right. It's not like I'm monetized, People can come and go. That's all right. I actually thought maybe by this time we'd have been to at least maybe like 120, 125, but if somebody wants to go, I'm sure it's somebody I probably offended. And they were like, screw him. Unsubscribe. That's what happens when you're opinionated, Ron, Although, it would be nice if you got like an email from YouTube saying, Joe Fabitz just unsubscribed, But they don't want you to know. I'm sure I could go through the subscriber list and look, but I mean, like a friend of mine, he prints his out monthly. And if he gets a new subscriber, then, oh, look, Sally Pally subscribed. And if somebody unsubscribes, he goes through the list and goes, oh, Tommy Tree Limb just unsubscribed, Hey, it kind of saddens me in a way, but hey, not everybody likes what I have to say, unfortunately. Although tomorrow night we may have a few guest appearances in the chat. Possibility that certain strangers are going to be popping in to say, Happy New Year, and then pop back out. Yeah, I got a few emails. Certain people are going to try to stop in for the end of the year. So it could be interesting. I got to get that TV set in here tomorrow. I sat here thinking about it. I don't, go get it and bring it in already. Jeez. As a matter of fact, I got up to do it. I don't know why I. Oh, I know why. I have to. It's screwed to the framework, and I have to find the damn Allen wrenches. I don't know what I did with the baggie of Allen wrenches and extra screws. So I can take the TV off the stand, then bring the stand in and gently hang the TV on it. I did go to Mark's today and get everything on the list. So I have to go to Dollar Tree and get one more big jar because I kind of did a pre-test, and each jar will hold a dozen. So that way I can make 2 big jars of pickled eggs. I picked up another bottle of mug. I have to get, and it won't be soon, I have to get to B.A. Sweetie Candy Company because he has bottles of Dad's root beer shipped in. So I want to get a couple bottles so I can compare to the mug root beer. Now, it does, to me, taste like it used to. If I had a blind taste test and somebody said, here's Dad's, here's mug, it would have been a draw because to me, the mug root beer tastes like the old Dad's root beer. And it gets the nice creamy, foamy head like root beer should. Because the last time I had a bottle of Hires, it didn't get that big, like you're pouring a beer. And A&W, boy, I'm disappointed in that. A&W does not, in any way, shape, or form, taste like it used to. No way. But, like the guy from Dr. Pepper, Keurig Dr. Pepper, he said, everybody's cheapening their ingredients because the big push is, all of the Gatorade, Powerades, all them, and then, all the energy drinks, and, that's the popular stuff. Matter of fact, the other day when I went up for cigarettes, there were, I think, 4 teenage kids, and they all had energy drinks. Not one had a Coke or a Pepsi or RC. Nope. So that's where all these, pop companies are putting their efforts. They concentrate on what sells. And right now, what sells with the kids is energy drinks. It's sad because it won't happen in my time, but I slowly see a lot of the pop market dwindling. I think you're going to see, like Coke, but I don't think you're going to see like Sprite or, whatever. Well, unfortunately, they're not buying pop. You've got a Keurig Dr. Pepper. Is it a bottling or a distribution center? I would think probably a distribution center. Although maybe they bottle it there too. That's like out in Elyria, there's a big, huge Coca-Cola warehouse, and it's the distribution center. They don't actually bottle out there. It's both? Oh, well, that's probably for the West Coast. Indiana covers a certain area, and then, Arizona probably covers from there west. Although there's probably a plant somewhere, maybe California. Boy, that's amazing. He notices. You can tell when you open a bottle. When you'd open a bottle, if you opened it too fast, it ended up in your face. Now you crack the lid and it goes. Tss. That's because they're like the guy told me. They're not only cheapening the ingredients, there's less carbonation. Because some bean counter was like, well, if we cut back on the carbonation, we can carbonate 10,000 bottles instead of 8,000. But most of the time, I see kids buying energy drinks. I rarely see somebody with a Coke or a Pepsi or in the summer it'll be an energy drink or, Powerade, Gatorade, one of them aids because everybody, Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, they all have them Powerade drinks. But like I say, the last time I was at Dollar Tree, it was amazing the different brands of energy drinks they had. I've never heard a lot of them. I was standing there going, near-death experience. Oh, that's one I want to drink. Riptide, this, that, and the weird flavors. Banana kumquat. Well, boy, I'll be drinking one of them for sure. Matter of fact, the next time I go to Dollar Tree, I'm going to make a list of the different energy drinks. Because there were names there I've never seen before. I would say easily it took up at least 15 foot of 4 shelves, maybe 20. And then, I go to the pop area, and the pop area is like 5 foot. And of course, still no ginger beer. They had a weird root beer. I'm going to have to try it next time. It was one of them craft brewed. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start comparing these smaller, kind of what I'll call mom and pop bottling companies. Because there were at least 3 different brands of root beer that I saw. Yeah, I mean, for $1.25 a bottle, I'll try them. God, when I was at Mark's today, there was a guy, obviously must have been a bachelor, because they had TV dinners on sale, $2.50. And he had a cart full. Matter of fact, he cleared one shelf. There was no meatloaf or Salisbury steak when he got done. I was like, there's somebody that don't like to cook. Either that or he's got a big family and everybody gets their own TV dinner. I think they were Encore, maybe Banquet. But he had a cart full. I was looking at him going, I felt like saying, you going to save any for anybody else? He probably had at least 40 in that cart. Had to be at least 40. Every now and then, I will get what is it, Sara Lee? I'll get a lasagna and a meatloaf and a Salisbury steak and I don't get chicken. When they're on sale, they're good in a pinch. But I have to make at least 3 to get filled up. maybe 2 lasagnas, but I'll make 3 meatloafs or 3 Salisbury steaks because there's just not enough food for me. But I only get them in a pinch. What I like when they're on sale is I will get pot pies. And I can't remember which brand I get because some of the pot pies cheat. They only have a crust. They're not a true pie. And I can't remember which one I get because it's a true pie. And I'll make a couple of them and I put them in a bowl. And they're not bad. They're good in a pinch. I always keep, well, I don't have any right now. What have I got in the freezer? I think I got some burritos, some enchiladas. I gotta make them one day. Yeah, I got matter of fact, they're the spicy beef burritos. And then beef enchiladas. I got them at Dollar Tree, you know, $1.25. Although what I do with mine is I put them in a casserole dish and I'll put some taco sauce or enchilada sauce in the bottom of the dish, and then I'll put the burritos and then some sauce over the top of them and drown them in cheese. And then put them in the oven. Put some aluminum foil over the top of the casserole dish. Put them in the oven. And then I peek. I wait till the cheese is all nice and bubbly. You have to doctor them. At least I have to. You know, what brand are they, Kathy? I know there's some phonies. I gotten burned on those. You lift the crust up and there's no crust on the bottom. That's not a pot pie. A pot pie is like pie. Because the crust is the best part. Like I say, I scoop it out of the container when it's ready and I put it in a bowl. Banquet are the good ones. It's been a while since I bought them. Matter of fact, usually this time of year, I'll stock up on a lot of that shit in case, you know, we get a nasty snow and I don't feel like going out. Matter of fact, I think I should start stocking up because the shitty weather is coming, and there's certain times I just don't feel like going outside. Like today, oh boy, was 22 degrees. Although I'll tell you what, that Passat fires right on first hit. Although it's got a brand new battery. I'll tell you what, it handles great in the snow. It really does. I'm really impressed with that anti-skid control, where basically if a wheel starts to spin, it applies the brake just enough to get them going. Yeah, go ahead, rub it in. What's the coldest it gets there, Ron? Like, I don't know, right now, would you consider you're in winter? I would tend to think that if it's winter in Ohio, it's winter in Arizona. What are your low temperatures for winter? Really? Wow. I didn't think it got that cold. Because I know, like, my friend that lives in Scottsdale, she said during winter it gets chilly there because she's not that far from the mountains. Because she sends me pictures from her backyard, and you can see the mountains in the background. I don't know how far she is from the actual mountain. Yeah, but you don't get snow like we get. You know, you don't open your drapes in the morning to 3 foot of snow. Hey Kathy, have you had any snow yet down there? I mean, anything that's stuck? You know, I wouldn't mind if like there was, you know, a dusting in the morning and then by, you know, noon, 1 o'clock it was gone. Oh my God. 1/4 inch closes down the city. Holy shit. I got that on my car right now. Yeah, we're getting a little powder because I had a little bit of snow on the car and I brushed it off, and then when I looked out the window before, it was all covered up. Although I hate the one thing I dislike is that back window on that Passat. It's got a sloping curve, and then there's a gap at the bottom of the window and the trunk. And all the shit accumulates in that opening. I don't know who the hell designed that setup. That's the only thing I dislike is that slope in that back window. I wish it was more, sedan, but, it's got to be aerodynamic. But I am not going to complain with the cold temperatures because I remember years back, boy, we used to get pounded with snow here in Cleveland. This is the only time I thank global warming because we really haven't got the shit we got years ago. God damn. And back growing up, there was no such thing as a snow day. Christ, I can remember walking in the snow, walking in the snow, going to school, and the snow was like almost fucking waist deep. And you better not be late. I remember many, many times snow being at least knee high. And you literally, I mean, my mother would boot me out the door 15, 20 minutes earlier than normal because I'd have to trudge through everybody had to trudge through the fucking snow. And people weren't, out there shoveling. There'd be snow that would be easily over your knees. Now, we get that much snow. Oops, snow day. Kids are wimps today. Not to mention, most of the kids get bused. What the hell do you need a snow day for if you got a fleet of buses? Because the bus driver union says, oh, we're not driving in snow over that deep. Yeah, Kathy knows. Before she went down south, she was one of the northeastern Ohio people that were trudging through ass-deep snow to get to school. Oh, I have to show you my new toy. I got this off of Temu. It's an automotive work light. And it has hooks. And it has magnets. So you can put it underneath the hood of your car or in your trunk. And it is freaking bright. And it also has a red light and so you could, put it on your trunk if you're broke down. I got it off of Temu, $9.99. This same light at Advanced Auto Parts sells for $28.99 because I was looking at it and I almost bought it. And this popped up on Temu, Black Friday, $9.99, rechargeable. I love it. I'm impressed. I also got a dozen Phillips screwdriver bits, magnetized, because I go through these things like crazy. $2.22. I think, no, there's 15 in here. 15 screwdrivers. Because they go in my, they go in my variable speed drill. Magnetized, $2.22. And they're not crappy, cheap Japanese shit. I'm getting to be a real Temu buyer. Because it never fails. I'll drop one, outside. You can't find it. I would be paying like almost $20 for this at Homeless Depot. I should have showed them to everybody. I bought a brake tool kit that if I would have gotten it at the auto parts store, it would have been like $60. I got it for like $18 off of Temu. I got that goofy what the hell do they call that? Torx Triple Star or something. I got a set of them. I got, as a matter of fact, I got a torque wrench, a 3/8 inch drive torque wrench, $18. The same torque wrench at Harbor Freight, $40. Same one. I'm like, now I know where Harbor Freight gets a lot of their tools. I got a hell of a tool collection over the summer off of Timu because I needed a lot of specialty shit for this goddamn car. Because besides having to get them special torque sockets for the axle bolts, almost every goddamn bolt and screw on that car is Torx. So I had to invest in, Torx sockets and what else did I get? And the nice thing is they come in nice heavy cases. But when I got that torque wrench, because I was going to buy one at Harbor Freight, and I went on Temu, and it was, local seller, $18. I was like, if I use it once and break it and throw it away, I could not believe when it arrived here. It was the same one I looked at Harbor Freight for $40. And I'm glad I didn't buy it. I had it in my basket. And then I was like, I don't need it right now. And I put it back. I'll tell you, it's amazing the tools that they carry. I got the brake kit. What else did I get? I got them goofy triple star torque sockets. I got a set of Torx bits. Well, you have. There's two different style Torx bolts on that goddamn car. You have the one where it's a bit that goes into the head of the bolt, and then you have a Torx bolt. So I had to buy two sets of sockets. It's the first time in years that I had to buy goddamn special tools to work on a car. But now, at least I have them. Matter of fact, I drove past Ryan's shop today. I was going to go around the block and stop in because I could have swore I saw his car parked on the side of the building. Maybe if I go out tomorrow, I'll see how his knee is doing if he's there. Not to mention, I need to get the front brake pads put on the facade. I already talked to his father about them. Because it's getting irritating. The one brake pad, the sensor is bad. And I keep getting the check brake pads, check brake pads, check front brake pads, check front brake pads. A goddamn light flashing drives me crazy. So I have the pads. All I got to do is have them drop them in, basically. And hopefully after the first of the year, I have a title for that car. although it's still available. I checked today with the License Bureau. Watch the day I go into. Oh, somebody's got it. What? Although if somebody would get it, I could always put a numeral 2 because you're allowed a combination of 7. So if somebody would happen to have this, I could always go TV 2. But it'll really piss me off. But I can't reserve it until I have a goddamn title in my hand. There was something else I was going to mention. I mentioned our possible special guests. Oh. So that we're not, because I'm sure everybody would want to sit here forever. What time should we start tomorrow? Should we do a delay? Like maybe 10 o'clock? Go 10 to midnight? Do our usual 2 hours that way? Because I'm sure everybody don't want to sit here from 7 o'clock. Although, neither do I, because I want to eat. So maybe like 10 to midnight tomorrow? I know at this age it's hard staying awake. God, I talked to my buddy and his wife today. I said, I was explaining the ball drop, you know, that they're going to do it twice, and they were like, yeah, we don't care. We're still going to bed at 8 o'clock. I said, 8 o'clock? Of course, they get up at 5 in the morning. I'm like, why do you still get up at 5 a.m.? You've been retired for goddamn 10 years. Oh, jeez. Well, you can watch from bed and then you fall asleep on us, you know. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, rather than, you know, drag it out, go 10 to 12. That way I'll have my dinner, and we'll still do a 2 hour. Because I only do a midnight show once a year. And then that way we'll catch the double drop of the the ball, sign off, and go to bed. Well, that's all right, Kathy. I mean, you've got your your set bedtime. I just figured get 2 hours in and do a 10 to 12. And then that's it. Like I say, I only do a midnight show once a year. And we'll see if my special guests pop in to say hi. The one may be going out for New Year's, so. But I was told if that person does go out for New Year's, they'll try to fire up their cell phone. Matter of fact, maybe tomorrow I'll email Nomad and say, hey, remember us? Oh my God. Once I went out on disability, because I would be up 6 o'clock, and then I slowly weaned myself off of the 6:30, then 7:30. Now I'm between 8 and 8:30. Of course, like you said, with my insomnia, sometimes I don't fall asleep until 4 in the morning. Yeah, he seems to have given up on us. Nomad and Mears. It would be nice to get a Happy New Year from down under. And a Happy New Year from England. I'll email Nomad tomorrow. But I don't have any way to contact Mears. I lost his email. I never saved it in my goddamn contacts in my AOL. But Nomad's I got his. I'll just ask him, hey, remember me? I'm doing a show 10 to 12 American time. Stop in and say hi. Maybe he was the one that unsubscribed. I wonder when we lost that one. Because I have a bad habit. I don't look. I mean, I open it. I do the playback to see how everything went. Now, I don't know what went haywire with this camera yesterday. I hope it's not a problem because it was freezing. I don't know if it was the camera or if OBS was having a problem yesterday. But during the playback, it would freeze every now and then. The voice would keep going, but the picture would freeze. And I don't know if it was OBS or if it's the camera. It better not be, for the money I paid for that goddamn thing. It's been like 3 months, maybe longer, since we've seen Nomad. Because he popped in for a few minutes and then he was gone. And it's been about that long for Mears, too. I'll email him tomorrow. Remember me? Yeah, I'm done with you. Click. Who else used to be here regular? Nomad was here. Well, he was here until a time change. That was his excuse. I can't remember who used to be here. Maybe we'll get a surprise. We'll get Nomad, Mears, TV2 will pop in. Now, TV2 said he's been busy working on stuff, so at least he pops in now and then. You know, I was just stopping to think, you know, who might have unsubscribed? A certain person we haven't seen in 3-4 days. Maybe some of my innuendos he figured out and was like, oh, that bastard. That could be the one. Although I did hear from one of the girls I used to work with at the hospital, they don't do YouTube. Her and one of the other ones, they only do Facebook. I have to figure out how to add Facebook. Because according to OBS, I can actually do 5 platforms. So I have to figure out how to add Facebook. That's about the only one. I've got a subscription to Instagram. I never go on it. When I was with Prism, I used to do YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But, you know, that's another nice thing about OBS. You can do up to 5 platforms at once for free. You know, they don't charge for nothing. So 2026 is going to be a learning year for me in OBS because I am really happy with it. And I want to kind of expand on what I'm doing. It would be nice, like some of these YouTube videos I watch during the day, you know, and I sit here and I tell you about it. It would be nice to put it up in the corner and watch it and talk about it, you know. I have a lot to learn with OBS. But so far, I am quite happy with it. The ease of use is unbelievable. And it's very easy to add and take away microphones, add and delete cameras. Because with Prism, it was a bitch to switch microphones. You don't know what the hell I had to go through. Now, basically, I unplug the USB, I drop another mic in, I plug it in, I hit audio input capture. It has a drop-down box. It shows the new microphone. I click on it. Bang. Done. The only thing I have to remember is to delete the previous microphone. Not that I need to. It's that the capture box gets too busy. Too much shit in that capture box. Like right now, I've got the camera and I have two microphones that I can switch back and forth from. If I add a third one, it just gets too confusing down there. But it's that easy. All I do is plug the mic in, open OBS, click audio input capture, and do the drop-down box. And it would show, okay, you got this microphone. I click on it, installed. Prism, oh my God, the shit that you had to go through. And then if you change cameras, you had to redo all the aspect ratios and oh my God. I was so happy when I uninstalled Prism. Gone. Never to be seen again. Now, I have it on the computer over here. And I don't know why I still have it over here. Oh, yeah. I'm using Prism to test my new cameras. Rather than test it here because I don't want to confuse shit. Pardon me. A pelican in my throat. boy, was that carrot cake delicious. I ate it in 2 days. Pig. With homemade cream cheese frosting, nothing out of a can. Boy, I'll tell you what. Marianne, when she puts her mind to it, boy, that woman can bake. That was probably the best carrot cake I've had in ages. Matter of fact, I told her, I says, I ate it in 2 days. She was, I guess you liked it. No, I hated it. She told me between her and her girlfriend, they made 14. And they made some big ones, too. Her girlfriend made some big ones. Marianne made them nice little personal size ones, and then she made one in a meatloaf pan for her son. And I can't remember. She told me how much cream cheese she went through. I said, well, believe me, it was good to the last lick. I dropped a hint. I told her, I said, maybe some chocolate chunk cookies. When she makes her chocolate chunk cookies, she buys a block of chocolate. And then she puts it in the freezer. And then she smashes it with a hammer. And then she scoops all the broken pieces up and throws them in the cookie dough. I would like sledgehammer. Yeah, she says, if you don't freeze the chocolate, it don't particleize when you break it. And I was like, okay. Yeah, she puts a piece of wax paper and then a towel over so that pieces don't go everywhere, and whack. Maybe sometime whack, whack. Then she just scoops it up and drops it in the bowl. God, a couple of them cookies were like 80% chocolate and 20% cookie. She told me she baked the carrot cake because she knew I liked it, because she didn't bake Christmas cookies. And my favorites are the ones, they look like a seashell with a cherry in the middle. Those I love. She makes them, and then she makes the what are those? They're like round balls, and you rub them around in powdered sugar. I can't remember what you call them. Those and pecan tassies, the little itty bitty pecan pecan pies. They're about that big. She said she didn't feel like baking Christmas cookies this year. So she did the carrot cake instead. I said, well, I appreciated the carrot cake. I miss the cookies, but I'll trade the cookies for carrot cake any day. Because, like I say, she's all natural ingredients. She goes to the health food store and buys some kind of fancy flour and sugar and the cream cheese, and yeah, everything has to be all natural. I'm surprised she doesn't, get her own cow. I think if she was allowed one, she'd have one. Long as I don't accidentally mention medication, we're good. If I mention medication, she points to the weed patch behind her garage. Oh, shit. I just remembered what I forgot. 2 days in a row now. I forgot my Heinz ketchup. Because I'm almost out. And my kid's got some generic crap in the refrigerator. I won't eat that. Blah. Two days in a row. I forgot the ketchup. I just thought of it. I have a spare bottle of red gold chili sauce, but no Heinz ketchup. No, it really shocks me because this time last year they were here. I don't know what. Ever since the last I had them the three dough and that 10-point buck. And after they left, there hasn't been a deer back here since. And it's really got me wondering because they were here all winter last year. Not the same deer. When I would look out in the backyard, there'd be one, there'd be two one day, three, then 6. I don't know what. I was kind of looking forward to them. Because it was cool every morning. Pull up the, I got those old-fashioned roll-up blinds, the ones that if you don't lock it in, it'll go. Pull up the blind in the morning, look out the backyard, go. No deer. The other morning, I scared the fuck out of Boots. I you know, sometimes you pull on them damn things and they won't unlock. And I'm pulling on it and I'm pulling on it and it's like, damn it. And I walked away from it and all of a sudden it went. Boots took off about 90 miles an hour and he was standing on the bed and all of his fur was like somebody electrocuted him. I was like, sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. It happens every now and then at night, too. I'll pull the blind down. I'll turn around and... Then he won't come back out in the kitchen. He's like... Yeah, you can tell how old this house is. Those are the originals. Matter of fact, I had to fix one with duct tape. Because the stitching was coming out where that wood piece is at the bottom where you... So I ran a piece of duct tape all the way across it. Rip. But I don't think you can buy them anymore. You know, you would give them the measurement and they would cut it. They would put the ends on it. I haven't seen those, although I haven't looked for them. I don't know if you can still buy them old-fashioned shades. I guess the next time I go to Homeless Depot, I'll have to see. I know you can still buy the hooks you hang them in. I'll have to look. Because I'd like to get one for the side door. God, I remember... God, you go into Woolworths, they had a cutting machine at Woolworths. Giant Tiger had a cutting machine. Silverman's had a cutting machine. I'll have to wander back in the drape area of Homeless Depot and see if they still carry them. You can tell I'm showing my age. But back in the day, almost every house had them shades. That's where they got the song from. Silhouettes on the shade. Yeah, if I can still get them, I'd like to get one. Well, get one for the side door and then replace that one that the duct tape's on with a newer one. Matter of fact, the last time I was at Homeless Depot, I was back in the shade area. I don't remember seeing the machine. You could never miss that machine. Because it was motorized and they would slide they would take the wood piece out. No. It was all, they would slide the whole shade in because there was a motorized part, and then there was they would slide the catch on the end, and then there was a round cutter, and they would start it up and then ease that cutter in, and it would cut through the shade, through the wood, and then they would take that end cap piece with just the point, because you have the catch for the spring, and then there's just a little point on the end, and they hammer that in. Here you go, here's your shade. Maybe I'll just go on homelessdepot.com and see if they still have them. Although, like I say, the last time I was there, I didn't see the machine. You can't miss that machine. Boy, that'll really tick me off if you can't get them anymore. I hope so. Because you used to be able to get them in all kinds of colors. Because like you say, I want to get one for the side door. And replace that one that's falling apart. Looks kind of crappy with duct tape. Although who the hell sees it? Me and my kid, and Boots, and Shiloh. And Boots, he don't like when I'll pull the shade up in the morning, and he kind of stands back and looks like, "You gonna stay there?" Because I remember when we would go to Woolworths, and I would always go back in the corner, and they would have the cut-off pieces in the wastebasket. And I'd always ask the clerk, "Can I have them?" Help yourself. Then I would bring them home and roll them out and draw on them. I don't know why, but it would just kind of neat to have a rollout. Yeah, it was the first thing I would do. I head back in the corner and I'd look in the wastebasket. Oh, they didn't cut no shades today. Oh, God, yeah. Woolworth, that was a hell of a store. We had one where Mark's is now, and then there was a Woolworth at 110th and Lorraine across the street from Sears. And Woolworth was like the buy-all store. If you needed a left-handed monkey wrench, Woolworth had it. It's a shame, after old man Woolworth died, the family sold off the business. And there were Woolworths everywhere. Because there used to be a big one downtown New York. And I know there was one out in San Diego because my aunt would always buy me a birthday gift at Woolworths. So, and it usually was some sort of clothing item, so that if it didn't fit right or I didn't care for it, you could exchange it. Because I remember after Woolworths closed, the one at 110th had the Woolworths sign on it for years. Even after, I can't remember what business rented the store, but they left the Woolworth name. And then, I don't know if it changed landlords or something, and the next time I drove by and the Woolworth name was off the building. Woolworth, 5 and dime. That was the sign. Each side, 5 and dime. But yeah, Woolworths, you get anything at Woolworths. That was a neat store. Because it was right next, in the plaza, it was right next to Kroger's. So my mother would grocery shop and she would turn me loose in Woolworths. I remember she'd give me like 10 cents. Here. Buy yourself something. I'll be next door. And I mean, I was like 6, 7 years old. I mean, those were the days when you could turn a kid loose. Not like today. Oh my God. You do that today, the Child Protection Services would be taking your kid away. What do you mean you turned your kid loose in a 5 and dime and you went grocery shopping? I didn't get abducted. Here I am. Although you could do a lot of shit like that back in the day. Shit, back in the day, if your kid fell asleep in the car, you cracked the windows and you went in the store, you let your kid sleep in the car. That was a day before safety seats and seat belts. Your father went around the corner quick, you slid across seat. Whoa! The good old days. That was before the days of padded dashboards, too. Man, if your father stopped fast and you were in the front seat, clink! Oh! Ow, 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 ow. That metal dashboard, oh. The good old days where a kid could get beat to shit while your parents were driving the neighborhood. Slide back and forth, bang your head on the dash a couple of times. Get out of the car. You'll be all right. Put a little mercurochrome on that bump on your head. My grandmother would be like, here, let me put the iodine on it. Yeah, you remember them days, Kathy. Although all it took was banging your head on that metal dashboard once, and you made sure if you were in the front seat, you sat back. No screwing around. Now, Christ, takes you an hour to get your kid buckled into the goddamn car seat. You could have been to the store and back by then. Well, I think it's about that time. Tomorrow we'll start at 10. Tomorrow I got to get the TV over here. No more procrastinating. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Been another fun night of conversation. And we will meet again, a little delayed, tomorrow night. And with that, take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll see you at 10 tomorrow. See ya. Take 2. See ya.